Hi, I'm going to be talking about communication and its role in, our lives and specifically for us as teachers and early childhood education teachers. Because I believe that communication is the foundation for being able to teach. Because how can you teach if you cannot communicate effectively? Um, this study that I read is by, I lost the names. It's by Dylan and Carr, and it is about the communication effectiveness of teachers and their based on their specific strategies of communication. And it talks about how it's not only the content of your communication, but it is also your vocal cues, your visual cues, your audio and visual aids, and eye contact. And all of these factors were shown to have a bearing on the effectiveness of a teacher's communication. Um, I think a lot of times we focus on a child's role as a listener, as a as an absorber of knowledge, and we don't so much look at ourselves and think, oh, is it because of me that this child is not listening? Because I don't believe that children um, do not listen because they don't want to. I don't think that there is a child out there hoping to be seen as a problem. I think that every misbehavior is an unmet need. And sometimes that unmet need is the understanding. They just simply do not understand your expectations. Um, so I'm going to talk about each of those specific aspects of communication from this study. Um, so the one that is pretty obvious is the content of your speech is hugely important in the effectiveness of your communication. For example, I have had a hard time speaking to my classroom when I do not know the content of my own lesson. And it's only happened once or twice where I have planned something intricate, forgotten details, and then because I do not have the full content, I cannot communicate it effectively. Um, Now, then there's also vocal cues. I feel like we use vocal cues a lot as teachers. Um, Simple songs, things, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Um, my favorite is the song that clap, clap, clap your hands together, stomp, stomp, stomp your feet together, because it promotes a sort of togetherness, a sort of action that we can all do together, and gives the children that obviously have something that they need to do something with their body. They're not ready to listen. And so it gives them a vocal cue to be able to give something back, to practice the give and take of communication, because often we are so focused on just the take part when it comes to children, and that can be frustrating. They're trying to learn the ebb and flow of conversation. The other one is visual cues. I like to simply grab my ears and wait. And this is a little bit more specific to the older kids or the children that are already looking and engaging with you. But if you practice listening ears, they will simply grab their ears or touch your nose. Kids are mimics. Um, and so giving them a visual cue gives them sort of a nonverbal communication. It's also a great way to communicate with nonverbal children. I have a couple nonverbal children in my class right now that do not that they don't understand verbal cues, but they cannot have that as the only thing. They need visual, as well as they need somebody to come up and put their hand right on their chest and then tell them. And some children, that's all they're missing, is they're missing a visual component or a physical component. It's the same reason we do hand over hand. That hand over hand, I don't know what the proper term would be to use it in communication, but it's necessary. The next one is audio and visual aids. I mean, we use visual aids in our presentations to adults all the time. It keeps our attention. I wish I had a PowerPoint to show you today. And so I think that those are definitely helpful within the classroom as well. I have a child in class who he was unable to pay attention when we would read a book. So book time was terrible for him, and it was hard on us teachers as well. But in class we have a smartboard. So what we started doing is we would find animated stories with little movements, and we would put those up on the smartboard. And then once he was actively paying attention and absorbing the information from that, we switched to doing books on the smartboard that were not animated to see if he was getting ready. And now he will go grab a book, he will sit and look at it, he will ask you to read it. He just needed the help. A lot of children, it's a bridge from their learning style to your teaching style, and it's our job to navigate that bridge. It's not their job to build it. The one that's the part in communication that's very hard for me is eye contact, and it is so important with children. I feel like I mentioned my ADHD a lot this term, but it has been hugely impactful in my learning and my teaching. As a neurodivergent person, eye contact is a struggle. And one of the things that I teach children is that they don't have to make eye contact to be listening. But as an adult, it is a skill that I am consciously trying to master. Whether it is short bursts of eye contact to show someone that I'm listening, because just because I am uncomfortable with it does not mean that I cannot do it, for the sake of building rapport and relationship with another person. I think that's the big point of my video, is just that communication is such a two-way street, and we understand that. I feel like in our conversations with adults, we understand that pretty well, that communication is a give and it's a take. And I think that we should be bringing that into the classroom. We should be teaching that skill to children. Some of my favorite stories and skills to teach them is to watch their friends' eyes and mouth and body language to see how they're feeling. And it has helped a lot in them not talking over each other and not talking over me, because we talk about how it would make you sad if your friends interrupted you. And so I feel like we just need to be setting those children up for the best route to success that we can, by giving them not just an authoritarian style of conversation and teaching, but every style that we can gather together and muster, and everyone that we can learn. And I think that is all I have to say. Thank you for being in class with me this term.